semi, Denmark, Australia and New Zealand, and they'll be joined by the top 3 from today's, in which 7 nations are participating. England must be considered favourites to win. They'll look to Kenny Carter and Kelvin Tatum to take them a step closer to retaining their title. America also well fancied this afternoon, represented as they are by Sean Moran and Bobby Schwartz. The battle for third place could be between Sweden, who have Jan Andersson and Per Jonsson riding for them, Finland with Kai Naimi and Ari Koponen, and Czechoslovakia represented by Tony Kasper and Alice Trimmel. The outsiders, well, Norway with Einar Killingstad and Roy Otto, and Italy, who are making steady progress with Armando Castagna and Valentino Furlanetto. Earlier today, Gary Newbond got the views of the English duo Kenny Carter and Kelvin Tatum.
Kenny Carter, what can we expect this afternoon? England just prepared to qualify, or does the new pairing want to win?
We both want to win, Gary. We both desperately need to win today. Obviously, we want to qualify, that's the main thing, but we really would like to win.
Kelvin, I mean, how aware are you of the criticism about this new pairing when we won the title with another pairing last season?
Well, not that aware about it, because really and truly, I feel that we both deserve to be picked. But really and truly, you can't really let that sort of thing worry you a bit too much, because, you know, you just got a job to do and you just got to get on with it.
Well, your thoughts the same as Kenny, that just qualifying's not enough?
Yes, because obviously if we win, it will answer so many people's questions, you know, and it would be lovely. But again, if it gets to a situation where we have to qualify, then that's what we will do. But I'm sure we will be in with a very good chance.
So it's all over 21 heats, the top 3 nations to qualify for the draw final. We join it for the start. Our commentator is Dave Lanning.
Heat 1 of this 1985 semi-final of the World Pairs Championship, and it's Norway versus America. Let's look at the lineup on the inside for Norway. Einar Killingstad riding in red. Next to him in a white helmet, Bobby Schwartz, who has twice been a winner or shared the title here. He's in white. In grid 3 in blue, Roy Otto for Norway. On the outside, Sean Moran in yellow and black. 4 laps to a race, remember. And 3 points for a win, 2 for a second, 1 for a third. The usual format. The Americans, one of the favourites for this title. They should qualify. And it's Otto who's impatient and up to the first corner. And it is Kylingstad who leads it. Kylingstad leads it. Moran going hard around the outside. Here in Odsal, the Americans having their first taste of British Speedway's new headquarter. Kylingstad's ridden a good first lap. Second place, Moran leads it. Second place, Kylingstad. Third place, Bobby Schwartz, who got elbowed out on the first couple of corners there. And now he's making inroads onto Kylingstad. Track has been heavily watered. It's a bit wet, and Schwartz will come through on the inside, looking to find a hole down the inside of Kylingstad. And Kylingstad, a young man who wished to come into British Speedway. He actually signed for Reading. They wouldn't let him in on a work permit. And he certainly looks he's not out of his depth at world level. And now Schwartz switching outside. And Moran waiting for him. And Moran looking for his partner. And Bobby Schwartz just seemed to find the quickest way around here, this 338-metre Odsal circuit. But Moran will win it. Kylingstad doing well to hang on for second place. Third place, Bobby Schwartz. 4 points for the Americans, 2 for the Norwegians after Heat 1. Well, there is Sean Moran, and we saw a good example there what pair racing is all about. He wasn't just worried about his own fortunes there. He slowed down considerably, looking for his partner, and almost lost the lead as they went into the last lap. Realised the danger and got motoring again. Moran winning it, and the Americans starting with 4 points. Heat 2, and it is Italy versus Sweden. The little-known Italians represented on the inside by the rider in blue, Valentino Furlanetto. Does a bit of ice racing, this lad, so he'll be obviously at home if conditions are slippery, which they seem to be. Next to him in the white helmet colour, it's Jan Andersson, experienced world campaigner for Sweden. Grid 3 has Armando Castagna, the Italian individual champion, in red, and on the outside it's Per Jonsson in yellow and black for Sweden. The Swedes are gating specialist. Andersson really does fly out. Jonsson has made his reputation on his starting. The Italians are unfancy, but could be a surprise packet. Here we go for heat number 2. Jonsson is going up to the start, and into the first corner is Andersson, and Jonsson swept out wide by the 2 Italians, so it's Andersson up front in second place. It's Furlanetto in third place, Castagna, and the Italians are doing better than we thought. Andersson leads it's the two Italians side by side in second and third place, and Per Jonsson, who rides for Reading in the British League, got really all run out of the first corner, and is beginning now to make a bit of an impression at the back. I think the real battle at the back, they're the two Italians. And the Italians are riding together as a pair, and this really is what this championship's all about. Jan Anderson a mile in front, leading it. Seems to have picked up a streamer from somewhere, Anderson. There's the distance between the first and second and third. Goodness knows what Anderson has picked up. Looks like he's going to a wedding. The Italians doing well to share the heat. Second place there was Furlanetto, third was Castagna. So 3 to the Swedes and 3 to the Italians there in heat 2. Well, there is Jan Anderson, who predictably won Heat 2, made a good start, never made any mistakes. We don't expect that from him. He's the world indoor champion, incidentally. But goodness only knows what he picked up during that fall, actually. You can see he's got a streamer there, and it looks like carnival time for Jan. And coming into the action for the first time, the England pairing here in this Sunbright-sponsored World Pairs semi-final at Odsal Stadium, Bradford. There is England number 1, Kenny Carter, virtually at home. He just lives up the road at Halifax, 5 minutes drive away, anxious to do well in front of his home crowd. Let's have a look at the lineup. They're meeting the Norwegians on the inside. It is Kelvin Tatum in blue for England. Next to him in the white helmet colour, it will be Einar Killingstad from Norway. Grid 3 has Kenny Carter on the outside, Roy Otto. The Norwegians have already had a ride. They scored 2 points in that one. England have had the chance to see all their rivals. They're the last ones into the action. Here we go for Heat 4. Otto in places on the outside, and it's a pretty even break, and it's England who gets to the corner at first. Tatum leads it, Carter around the outside, and it's the Pride of Lions giving them the old 1-2 here, but really that's only to be anticipated against the relatively inexperienced Norwegians. It's a bright start for England. Carter, who of course rode here, as did Tatum, in the World Team Cup preliminary round, which our viewers in Yorkshire saw, and they both know their way around this 338-metre Odsal circuit, and they really are carving up Heat 4. No nation has picked up maximum points for their opening ride, but unless anything untoward happens here, Carter and Tatum, controversial selection by John Berry. Going into the last lap, England have had a pretty good record in this competition. They've won it 6 times since 1976, and they've retained it last year through Chris Morton and Peter Collins, and this really is a super start for the Lions. Carter wins it, second place is Tatum, third place there, Killingstad. England gets the start they were looking for, and they move into the lead with all the nations now having completed one ride. 4 heats completed. There's the good news on the leaderboard for English fans. The England pairing, the only one to collect maximum points from their first outing. 3 to qualify, remember, and we're moving now into race number 5. And this time it's America, who rather surprisingly only got 4 points from their opening ride in against the comparatively naive Italians. Let's look at the lineup. On the inside, Bobby Schwartz in red, third place first time out. Next to him in yellow and black, Valentino Furlanetto from Italy. Grid 3 will have Sean Moran for America. He's in the blue helmet colour and won his opening ride. And on the outside, it's Armando Castagna from Italy. Heat 5, America versus Italy. Oh, that's a better start from Schwartz. Schwartz moves off the inside grid. Moran taking Castagna wide and high, and the Americans will look for each other. Schwartz looking over his shoulder both ways. He sees Moran has got the outside run, and they'll just stay together now and try to make sure the Italians get nowhere near them. Really, they are in a different class, these two nations, it has to be said. The Americans, who have twice won this title in 1981 and 82, and both times Bobby Schwartz on the inside here was a member of their winning duo. Castagna is making sure they don't go to sleep, and the Italians are riding gallantly. They really are out of their depth here, but they're making sure the Americans don't dilly-dally on the way. Schwartz takes a quick look back on his inside shoulder, sees that Castagna is well back. They'll be content to do this with Moran, who likes to ride high on the outside here, and the Americans, who we reckon to be England's greatest rivals here, are going to collect maximum points, with Bobby Schwartz virtually getting off and carrying Moran round. 5 points then to the United States, 1 to the plucky Italians. And there is Bobby Schwartz, who made the start and won it really in second gear. Heat number 6 coming up, and this time it's a Scandinavian showdown with the Swedes and the Finns in competition. Let's have a look at the lineup. On the inside in red, Jan Andersson from Reading and Sweden. He won his opening ride. Next to him in yellow and black, Ari Koponen from Finland. Hasn't ridden yet, had engine trouble before his scheduled opening ride. Grid number 3 has the rider in blue, Per Jonsson from Sweden, and on the outside it is Kai Niemi in the white helmet for Finland. No, it really should be a little bit more tense, this one, with Andersson and Niemi both accepted world-class performers. The Finns are brothers-in-law, incidentally, and the Swedish pairing are teammates at Reading. So they should know all about each other's style and their respective abilities. We're waiting for Heat 6. The Americans have moved into the lead, but they've had an extra ride. Both these nations will be looking for qualification points already. That looks like being a close call, and here we go for Heat 6. We'll look for Andersson from the inside and Niemi from the outside. They're getting impatient. And off they go. It is Andersson again who's made a jet-propelled start. Andersson leads it in second place, Niemi going high. In third place is a battle, and it looks like Johnson will just get in, but we have a battle up front with Andersson and Niemi. The drive seems to be moving high, and Andersson moved out to counter Niemi, and Niemi's come back down the inside of it. In third place, it is Per Jonsson. So Sweden first and third at the moment, and Niemi seems to be making ground on Andersson. Andersson will ride an immaculate line around the inside, but Niemi has got all the drive on the outside, and Andersson is suddenly aware of him, and we've got a real race on here. Andersson moves out high to counter the dashes down the boards from Niemi, and Niemi, who seemed to be getting up around this corner last time, has been pushed back. Andersson suddenly aware of the danger moving into the last lap. Andersson has ridden a really super strategic race here, because Niemi has attacked him inside and out. He's held him out and almost stopped him. So Andersson will win Heat 6. He remains unbeaten individually. Second was Niemi. Third place was Per Jonsson. 4 points for Sweden, 2 for the Finns. And there is the race winner, Jan Andersson, who had his work to do there with Niemi on his tail. And the Finn pushed him hard inside and out, but Andersson brilliantly outmaneuvered him to take Heat 6 and keep Sweden in contention for a qualification place at the very least. England's latest wonder boy on the track, Kelvin Tatum, 20-year-old from Coventry Bees in the British League, who this morning had a big English breakfast on instructions of his team manager. He told him he had to eat to get into action. So let's have a look at the lineup for Heat 7. On the inside, it is Tatum in blue. Next to him, in yellow and black for Czechoslovakia, Tony Kasper. Grid 3 has Kenny Carter red, and on the outside, Alice Drimmel in white for the Czechs. England need maximum points here to overtake the Americans on top of the leaderboard. The Americans have had 2 starts, they have 9 points. England have had 1 and taken maximum points from it, and they'll be looking to pick up something from the Czechs, who are not involved, of course, in British League racing, and just looked a bit rusty first time out. So Heat 7 will watch for Tatum on the inside. He's a quick starter, and Carter has looked sharp from the outside grid earlier on. So let's look at Heat number 7, and England bidding for another maximum, and off they go, and it's again Carter and Tatum who do the scissors, and Carter seemed to pick up some drive midway around that corner, but they're a long way clear already. Levelling out behind them, it is now Kasper. Kasper has been passed by his partner Drimmel, but it's England 1 and 2, and this young pairing who caused a few eyebrows to be raised when selected. We remind you that this title was won for England by the Bellevue partnership of Peter Collins and Chris Morton. And Chris Morton, we know, is here this afternoon to give the youngsters who have replaced him a bit of encouragement. And they're a mile in front, and really it's no competition. Carter has lost his helmet colour, but it is him in front, with Tatum in second place, and the Czechs, whose machinery, it has to be said, doesn't look competitive, have been dropped off by a quarter of a lap. It's Drimmel in third place. He's a useful long tracker, but these are the England pairing who are going to pick up another 5 points very, very comfortably indeed. Carter wins it, Tatum is second. In third place there in the final analysis, it was Drimmel, but 5 points it was Kenny Carter who wins it for England, and the young Lions are looking good. Each nation has completed 2 rides now, and England you can see clearly on top with maximum 10 points. The United States, though, breathing right down their exhaust pipes, and a bit of a dogfight developing between the Swedes and the Finns for that 3rd qualification place. Heat 8, and it is the competition and meeting of the 2 unfashionable nations. We have the Norwegians versus the Italians here in Heat 8, and both of these emerging nations, and they've shown the odd glimpse of interesting form, certainly have not looked totally out of their depth here at Odsal this afternoon. Let's look at the lineup while the Norwegians there seem to make up their mind who's going to go into which grid. In the blue helmet, it is Roy Otto, experienced campaigner, been around a while, has toured over here before, but never at this kind of level. And in the red helmet, it looks like Otto's going to go into grid 1. Norway versus Italy then, with Roy Otto on the inside in blue. Next to him in white, Armando Castagna from Italy. Grid 3 has Einar Kylingstad in red, and on the outside, Valentino Furlanetto in the yellow and black helmet colour. 2 of the lesser fancied nations, and Otto seems to be holding up the start of Heat 8. Could be a close contest, these 4, very evenly matched. Let's see who makes the start in heat number 8. And it is a clean break, and it is Castagna. It's the Italians who've got away. Castagna leads it. Furlanetto is second. In 3rd place, it is Roy Otto, and Kylingstad, who looked good earlier on, is at the back. The Italians up front, and looking back there, Castagna for his partner. And the battle really is for 2nd place. It's Furlanetto under pressure from Otto. Castagna going high, looking for his partner, leaving a hole up the inside. Good team tactics by the Italians, but Otto's right on their back wheel now, and he certainly isn't intent on letting them get clear. Going into the last lap, and the Italians will be happy about this. They look like they're going to collect maximum points from Heat 8, and both the Norwegians seem to be slowing, and the Italians are going to win it in a double. Castagna in the white helmet colour has ridden, well, impressive looking race there. 2nd place Furlanetto, 5 points for the Italians, 1 only for the Norwegians. Eventually it was Kylingstad who took 3rd place. Armando Castagna from Italy taking Heat 8, and there's his partner, and that 5 points to them, well, brings them up into the reckoning for a qualification place, and that would be a surprise.
Kenny Carter, you've been called for a test. Now let's establish there are 2 types of tests.
Yeah, there's alcohol test to see if you've been drinking beer, and then there's a drugs test to see if you've been taking drugs.
Now which one do they want to check out with you?
Alcohol test.
So what did you have to do?
I had to blow in a bag and blow this bag up, a bit like the police do when they stop you for speeding, and I was okay.
Were you surprised to be called?
Well, I was very surprised because the last meeting we had at Odsal World Team Cup, they called me up for that one as well, so I don't know why they pick on me.
Master Carter then proves his sobriety, but let's have a look at the intoxicating prospect of what Odsal Stadium, Bradford, British Speedway's new headquarters is going to look like. You can see massive redevelopment work. Something like £4 million is going to go into this stadium. You can see there, that's where the new dressing rooms are going to be. They've spent £1 million already, but in the light of recent tragic events in this city, we have new safety regulations. You may have wondered why those first few rows of seats are empty. They are to comply with safety regulations on this new development here at Odsal. That's why they're empty. And we look back down the track to the pits. The pits situated high up on the 3rd and 4th corners, and coming into heat number 9, well, it is Sweden versus America, and these are 2 of the top nations in the world. This one should really be something of a firecracker. The Americans currently in 2nd place overall behind the English. Let's look at the lineup for heat 9. From the inside, we have Jan Anderson, unbeaten thus far. He is in the red helmet colour. Next to him in white, it's Bobby Schwartz for the United States in white. Grid 3 has Per Jonsson in blue for Sweden, and on the outside it's Sean Moran in the yellow helmet colour. Heat 9, Anderson and Schwartz, former teammates at Reading. They know all about each other's ability, and Anderson really is a starting specialist, but he really has got 2 big Californians in against him here in Heat 9. The start so vital, and they're impatient. Of course, the FIA regulations are allowed to touch the tape, which is forbidden in British League racing, and away they go this time. And it's Anderson again. Anderson leads the Americans. Moran will attack him around the outside. And there goes Sean Moran down the outside. And he quite got the horsepower. A little lad from Czech just across the way. The yellow helmet colour certainly won't shut off, but Anderson is aware of him. It's Anderson leading it. Moran in second place. In third place it is Schwartz, and Sean Moran has got to find some drive. He's got to find some power. He's got to find a hole. If Anderson rises on rails. Very tight old track to get past anybody, and Moran's going down the inside. Oh, he left a hole there, Anderson, and Moran almost popped through it. Difficult to find a racing line when you are behind them into the last lap. 338 metres, we remind you, around this custom-built Odsal circuit. Although Sean Moran has tried inside a race once again, clever tactical riding up front of Anderson is going to win heat 9. He takes it. Second place Moran, third is Schwartz. At the back it's Johnson. Point shared there. That was a good ride, really, has to be said, from Jan Anderson. He was under considerable pressure, but he held out, takes 3 points, keeps the Swedes in a reckoning for a qualification place, as indeed the 3 points the Americans accumulated there. They're still in with a shout. Just for a moment there, Jan Anderson in the red helmet colour moved a snitch offline. The racing line here, he drifts out on this corner in lap 3, you can see there, moves off his normal racing line. He leaves a hole there, and Sean Moran finds some drive around the inside and almost caught him napping. Anderson gets his wheels back in line just in time to hold out that thrust down the inside. Heat 10 and the England pairing have some real opposition this time. They have collected maximum 10 points from their first 2 rides, but the rider there in red will be looking to get among that unbeaten record. That's Kai Niemi from Finland, and Kai has scored 5 points on his own from his first 2 rides. He is a world-class performer of acknowledged class. He's on the inside too, so that is the favourite gate. Now let's look at the lineup for Heat 10. On the inside it is Niemi in red. Next to him in yellow and black, going on to a second reserve bike, it's Kelvin Tatum for England. Grid 3 has Ari Koponen in blue, and on the outside it is Kenny Carter in the white helmet colour, taking grid number 4. There is Kenny Carter, who is very, very much at home here in every sense of the expression. He lives just literally 5 minutes away, and he's quickly weighed up this big, pacey, racy Odsal bowl. But they'll have to watch for Niemi, because Niemi is slippery from the inside, and once he gets in front, he goes very quickly. There is Kai Niemi, rides for Ipswich, the #1 Finn, former world finalist, and a formidable character when he's in front. Let's watch Heat 10. Can England maintain their unbeaten record? The tapes are a long time going. The referee is a Swede, Neil Ringston, former rider. They're away this time, and Niemi and Tatum chopped across him. Tatum hit the traps in front of Niemi and showed him no mercy up to the corner, but Carter's back in last place, and he won't be happy about that. Here comes Kenny Carter through into third place. It's Tatum who leads it. Niemi is second, Carter is third, and the England Lions have got a real battle on here as Carter comes powering through on the inside of Niemi. They've got a real race now. Tatum in front, superstar from the young Coventry V, and now Carter, the crowd are on their feet for the first time really this afternoon as Carter comes around the outside of Niemi and chops him to pieces going into the bottom corner here. Oh, tremendous stuff, and Niemi almost missed the corner. I think his machine has given up the ghost, but he certainly was comprehensively outridden there by the England pairing. And this young England pairing, when it came to the test, they really responded. Tatum leads it, second place Carter, third place now Koponen in the last lap. And this is impressive stuff from the young Lions. Tatum won it. Carter really had to battle there to come from the back. It's the first time we really have seen somebody spread evenly the opposition from the back, but 5 more points from the England pairing, and they are back in the lead. Watch for Kelvin Tatum in the yellow and black helmet from grid 2. He comes right across on Niemi, gives him nowhere to go. And that was ruthless starting tactics from Tatum. Carter's at the back. He's had to do his hard work from the rear, but a really ruthless piece of starting from Kelvin Tatum. 10 heats completed in this Sunbright World Pairs Championship semi-final. It's looking heartwarming for England. They're now 3 points clear of their nearest rivals, the United States, with the Swedes on 10 points looking favourites for the third qualification spot.
So England, as expected, leading from the United States, with Sweden handily placed. We'll continue the story in some bright World Pairs Championship. The English pair, Kenny Carter and Kelvin Tatum, have made a great start. 3 maximum so far in their races against Norway, Czechoslovakia and Finland. But they've still to face their toughest challengers, the Americans. When we left it, England had a 3-point lead, so to see if they can hold on to it, back now to sunny Bradford and our commentator, Dave Lanning.
Yes, fans with a fetish here at the Bradford Riviera. Who needs to go abroad when we have scenes like this? The fans here basking in the Speedway sunshine at Odsal Stadium as we move into race number 12. And this one brings the Americans in against the Finns, so 2 of the more sophisticated speed nations in contest here. The Americans, of course, just on England's tail there in 2nd place. And the Finns still looking for that 3rd qualification place, by no means out of competition. Here we go for the lineup on the inside in the red helmet colour, Bobby Schwartz from America. Next to him in white, Kai Niemi for Finland. Grid number 3 has Sean Moran in blue, and on the outside is Ari Koppanen, and he is in yellow and black. The Finns have a total of 6 points, but Niemi has scored 5 odds. If Koppanen could get his act together, they might be in with a shake. Here we go for heat number 12. Up to the corner, it is Schwartz who gets away. The inside grids are very quick. Moran did a beautiful piece of switching there. Moved inside Niemi, and it's now Schwartz and Moran. And Schwartz is looking for Moran, and they've watered the track. It's a bit sticky down there, my word. Marvellous tactical ploy there by Sean Moran. He was beaten to the corner, but he switched back, and now Bobby Schwartz up front will wait for him and try and nurse him down the outside as they hit the pit corner here at Odsal Bradford. Inside run, Schwartz makes sure that avenue of attack is cut off. Good team tactics there. The Americans up front, they do seem to have this telepathic understanding. Bobby Schwartz is such a super pairs rider. He's shared this title twice before, and Niemi is really getting his nose in amongst them. And Schwartz there locking the... Oh, clever tactics again. Schwartz bringing home his partner, and Bobby Schwartz really performed a minor miracle there. He dropped back and blocked Niemi's attack, and Moran held on for the 2nd place. 5 points to the Americans, but Bobby Schwartz really working hard in Heat 12. Czechoslovakia versus Italy in Heat 13. 2 of the nations who have picked up their performance as this meeting has unfolded. Let's have a look at the lineup on the inside. In the blue helmet colour, we have Valentino Furlanetto from Italy. Next to him in yellow and black, it's Anthony Kasper for Czechoslovakia. Grid 3 has Armando Castagna from Italy, and on the outside, it is Alice Drimmel in white for Czechoslovakia. The Italians picked up 5 points from their last outing, and the Czechoslovakians picked up 4. So after a sluggish start, both of these sets of pairs are really picking up their performance, and still might just squeeze into a qualification place if they can really get their act together in the 2nd part of this World Semi-Final. Here we go for Heat 13. Oh, Kasper is away in yellow and black. Kasper leads it, coming hard after him. It's Furlanetto, and Furlanetto creeping around the inside and might just have the horsepower down. The back straight, they're all bunching up. It is Kasper in front. Furlanetto is 2nd. 3rd place, Drimmel going high and wide. And around the outside, Czechoslovakia looks like he might just have the power. It's the Italian who's riding a crafty old inside line. Still Kasper, still the battle for 2nd place. And this time Drimmel does seem to have the drop. Again, the Italian is driving around the inside there and riding a perfect line. And Drimmel really has twice got past him, twice has been repassed. And this is good speedway. Into the last lap, still Kasper in front. Furlanetto, who really has found some drive on the inside, as no one else this afternoon, it has to be said. 3rd place, Drimmel. Kasper will win it. Excellent tactical race from Furlanetto. In 3rd place, Drimmel, who tried everything there but couldn't get up. Heat 14, and this one looks interesting in potential because we have Jan Andersson there in the white helmets from Sweden, who is unbeaten. He's reeled off 3 straight wins in against the English partnership of Tatum and Carter, who haven't been beaten by a rival in their 3 outings. So something's got to give here. The Swedes are in there fighting for the 3rd qualification place. England are in the lead. They have led throughout. They have looked in super form. And now we have got Kenny Carter inside Anderson. That's a tactical switch. Carter has ridden in the outside grids in the earlier ride. He is now inside Anderson, and Tatum, who is the swifter of the two starting Englishmen, is on the outside. They may try the scissor trick on Anderson here in heat 14. Carter then red inside grid 1. Next to him, the fast-starting Jan Anderson, Sweden, unbeaten thus far. Grid 3 has Kelvin Tatum blue. On the outside, Per Jonsson, who has been pushing the tapes. He's in yellow and black. He might try a bit of conmanship here. Tension beginning to build at Odsal as heat 14 gets underway, and again it's Jonsson who is impatient, and so too is Anderson. They are allowed to touch the tapes under FIM regulations. They don't apply in British League Speedway. Up to go, and up to the corner, and it is the Englishmen who do the scissors. Tatum and Carter really chopped up Anderson. Anderson left with nowhere to go into the pit corner, and it's England and the old 1-2 again. In fact, it is Jonsson who's moved up to challenge very boldly. Tatum leads it. Carter is second. The two Swedes are right on their tails. What about 5 lengths between all four? Good speedway here at Odsal as Tatum leads. Carter under pressure from Jonsson on the outside and Anderson down the inside. Carter's moved over the dirters, and he might have let Anderson almost sneaked around the inside. Carter must be aware of the danger now moving into the last lap. The Englishmen roar on. Well, there was those among Speedway fans who doubted the wisdom of John Berry selecting this pairing, but they have done England proud, and they have ripped apart these Swedes. They have inflicted defeat on Jan Anderson. That's another 5 points. Tatum wins it. Carter in second place. Anderson was third, and the crowd are on their feet. They rightly deserve to be, because that really was rather sensational team tactics from the English pairing, maintaining an unblemished record. And the England pairing completely outthought and outmaneuvered Anderson here. You can see he is the meat in the sandwich, but he really is nowhere in sight as Tatum swoops across from grid 3. Carter riding an immaculate ride around the inside. And from that moment on, really, it was maximum points all the way. Now, with each of the nations having completed 4 rides, there is the leaderboard. England clearly in front, United States on 17 points in second place. But look at this fight developing for the third qualification place. The Czechs, the Italians and the Swedes, and the Finns have got 2 easier rides to come. Still plenty to race for here at Bradford. Bobby Schwartz and Alice Drimmel there waiting and just warming up their clutches for the start of Heat 16. There is Bobby Schwartz, the American national skipper. Boogaloo. You can see the insignia Cadillac Jack on his arm there. People may wonder what that is. That was the name of his father, his late dad, and he always carries that insignia on his leathers, his racing leathers. Bobby Schwartz in grid 2. Let's look at the lineup for Heat 16. On the inside, in the blue helmet colour, Antonin Kasper from Czechoslovakia. Next to him, Bobby Schwartz in white. Grid 3 has Alice Drimmel red, and on the outside, Sean Moran. They know all about each other, these two. Kasper and Schwartz were teammates at Eastbourne last year, and the other pair were teammates in Sheffield. Schwartz is away, so too is Kasper. Schwartz leads into the first corner. Where is Moran? He's coming high and wide around the outside of the Czechoslovakian pair. Tremendous piece of overtaking by Moran. So typical of this gritty little Californian. And the Czechs were up with a chance of a place in the first 3. Really look for some points here. Oh, Moran is way out on the boards and showering the dust over the crowd up there on the first 2 corners. Moran in front taking the high road, and Bobby Schwartz riding a neat economical line around the inside. Bobby, of course, has won this title with Booth Paddle and with Dennis Sigalos. And he has a new partner this year with Sean Moran. And they do again seem to have developed this telepathic understanding, which is the trademark of Bobby Schwartz. He's a great team man. Really a perfect piece of team riding tactics from the Americans in Heat 16. 5 more points to them. In third place, eventually, it was Alice Drimmel for the Czechs, but that's just academic. The Americans have collected 5 more points, and they look all set for the final. Superb team riding tactics by the Americans. Watch for Schwartz in grid 2 in the white helmet. He closes down the inside. And watch for his partner, Sean Moran. He's right out on the dirt. And he has got his wheels back in the line outside the 2 Czechoslovakians. Schwartz is waiting for him. He's left a hole. You can just look over his shoulder. He sees it's his partner, and they're bowling on for home. 16 heats in the sunshine at Bradford, and there is the leaderboard with the Americans having taken the lead on 22 points. But the important factor is they've had one extra ride above England, who are unbeaten on 20 points from 4 rides. Look at this dogfight developing for that third qualification place. The Czechs on 13, the Finns on 12, and both the Italians and the Swedes in still on 11 points. It's going to be a real close call for the third place. Heat 17, and we have England looking to re-establish their lead, and they really ought to here against the Italians. A world of difference in class and experience out there on the track. Let's look at the lineup. On the inside, it is the rider in blue, and that is Valentino Fellinetti for Italy. Next to him in white, Kenny Carter, England. Grid 3 has Castagna in red for Italy, and on the outside, Kelvin Tatum in yellow and black. So now, this really ought to just be a tactical exercise for the Englishmen. They really ought to get out of the gate ahead of these two Italians, who are not in all generosity in their league. And if the English boys get out, the one factor they have to consider, the track has been watered between this race and the previous race, and it might just be a bit sticky and a bit unpredictable. So they just have to watch for that. Apart from that, they really should eat the Italians. Let's watch heat number 17 and watch for the English riders in white and yellow and black. They're unbeaten so far. It would be a real sensation if they drop points here. And away they go. And up to the corner it is Carter. And Tatum gets a knock, and Tatum gets ridden very wide by the Italians. And this is a surprise, because Tatum is normally the quicker of the two Gators in the English pairing. And now Tatum's got to really sort them out. Carter up front, and Tatum is at the back. And this is the first real surprise of this World Pairs. He has been filled in with wet shell, and he's been dropped off a long way back. And, well, it will perhaps teach us a lesson about being a bit previous with our thoughts. We thought the English pairing would absolutely carve this one up, but Tatum got pushed out at the first corner, and he's not making any inroads at all. Carter's leading it. Second place, it is Castagna. In third place, it is Furlanetto, and Kelvin Tatum at the back. And who would ever have dreamed that it would be the Italians to split up the English pairing here at Bradford? A real surprise in heat 17. Tatum is making no impression at all. Carter's under pressure up front there from Castagna, and this really is just a little remarkable. Carter wins it. Second place Castagna, third Furlanetto. Tatum at the back shaking his head as he goes over the line, and that must be Italy's, well, their biggest day in World Speedway. They've actually split up the Englishmen. Carter won it, looking back to see where Tatum was, but the young Coventry B never made any impression after being taken high on the first corner, and England have dropped their first points here at Bradford, and they've dropped them in rather a sensational way. Hardly the cleverest first corner that Kelvin Tatum, nearest to us in yellow and black, has made. Carter has clearly made the start, but now Tatum runs high and wide here, and the Italians go through the gap, and from this moment on, the young Coventry rider was struggling, and we word from the pit is he's unhappy with track watering. He got filled in, but that was a surprise split for the England pairing against the unfancied Italians. Building to the climax of this World Pairs Championship semi-final at Odsal, Bradford. 18 races completed. England now just narrowly in the lead on 23 points. Only one clear of the United States, and they clash in heat 19 coming your way in the race which will surely decide who wins this Sunbright sponsored semi-final. So looking down the line, the Americans have 1 and 3 on the inside and grid 3, and it's Bobby Schwartz in red and his partner Sean Moran in blue, and they have really shown some masterful understanding in 1 or 2 of their earlier rides. The English pairing, well, our minds go back to the recent test series against the Danes, when twice we saw on World of Sport they were leading and were picked off in the later stages of the meeting. So their stamina again under question. It really would be a tragedy for them. They've led throughout and looked immaculate, and now suddenly the Americans could steal it here. A race win here, a shared heat would win it for England, but a 4-2, a first and third from the Americans would take this semi-final, snatch it at the last gasp. Looking across the line on the inside there, Bobby Schwartz, red, such a splendid team performer. Next to him in the white helmet, Kenny Carter, an old adversary. Carter unbeaten by an opponent here this afternoon. Grid 3 has Sean Moran beaten only by Jan Anderson, and on the outside Kelvin Tatum, who dropped England's first points amazingly against the Italians and complained bitterly about the watering of the track. Heat 19, and it's going to be decided here, and the start is going to be all important. Oh, and they're impatient. And Carter it was who touched the tapes. And Tatum is touching the tapes. And they've got to let them go, and up they go. And up to the corner, it's Carter and Schwartz piling in. Carter leads it. And, oh, a clever piece of cornering from Tatum. And Tatum almost got under both the Americans as Moran goes roaring after Kenny Carter. And this is a real battle, Carter and Moran. And Moran has got round Carter, and Schwartz is in third place. And the Americans might just steal it. Really sensational piece of speedway action from Sean Moran. He would not be deterred. Well, Carter made the jump, and Carter's machine doesn't seem to be going so quickly. And Schwartz is now closing on Kenny Carter as Moran absolutely tears him apart here in heat 19. Into the last lap. And Calvin Tatum, who started so promisingly at the back. And Carter has packed him. He thought his machine looked like it was slowing. And Carter, what a disastrous end for England. They absolutely controlled the afternoon, and suddenly the meeting has been stolen from them. Schwartz wins it, rather Moran wins it. Schwartz is in second place. Carter's machine, who noticeably seemed to be slowing, packed up on the last lap. Maximum points for the Americans. They win this semi-final, and the English pairing, who had dominated with such mastery earlier in the afternoon, have to be content with just a qualification place for the final. So after 19 heats, there is the leaderboard, and the story here at Bradford is that England have blown it again. The Americans clearly on 27 points must win this Sunbright Pairs semi-final. England on 24 will just have to be happy with going through to the final in second place.
Yes, England and America safely through, and there's the final situation now. America winning the semi-final with 27 points, England in second place. Sweden, the third nation to qualify for the final, and following Sweden, Italy, Finland, Czechoslovakia, and in last place, Norway. Now let's hear from England's duo, Kenny Carter and Kelvin Tatum. They're talking to Gary Newborn.
Well, Kelvin, you have qualified, but you blew it in heat 17 when you look as if you're going to win it.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. I made a bad start off of gate 4, and Kenny got out in front. But just one of those things. I'm just very disappointed. I really thought we could have done it.
But this is where they're going to stage the world final. The track didn't look at all well today.
No, I feel possibly the watering before our last two rides was very badly organised, because on the outside starts it was very, very wet and slimy, and really you were at a very big disadvantage.
And Kenny, you didn't help in heat 19.
Well, what can I say, Gary? I was in front, coming down the back straight, and just lost the power. Then Sean Moran passed me, and I thought, well, just got to hang on for a second, and we're just going. And then the bike blew up. It's the first time I've blown a bike up for 2 years, so just unfortunate that it's happened today.
There has been criticism of the team manager bringing in you two youngsters instead of the pair that won it last year. I mean, how do you see you two in the final as far as winning it for England is concerned in Poland?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, we only had to win the last race to win the meeting, and I was doing that, and then the bike blew up, and Kelvin, I think, was third. But it's the qualifier. We've got to look to the final now. At least we're at the final, and hope we don't blow up in the final, and I think we'll be there.
Kelvin, they're making so much of this Bradford track, but do you think this is really going to be an ideal place to hold a world final? Is the track going to be ready in time? They are having a lot of problems with it.
Well, it's only the second meeting here. I think obviously they would have learned a lot from today, as they did from the World Team Cup round a couple of weeks ago. I think really and truly it is going to be difficult, particularly if you've got outside gates, because it's such a long way to the first corner. But every track has its faults.
Okay, well, you're through to the final. Well done, well qualified. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Cheers.
So thanks to all the teams there. Let's have a look at the 7 nations that have qualified for the World Pairs Final, and they are England and the United States, Australia, Denmark, New Zealand, and Sweden, and of course the host nation, Poland.